Hi, Kate here, and today we're going to look at the discovery library aspect of Flipgrid. Flipgrid is one of my all-time favorite platforms to use with students to build a community of learners while practicing speaking and listening skills. And if you haven't gotten a chance to check out Flipgrid yet, it is really a must see and must use for the English language arts classroom. I'm just going to be speaking about a very small section of it today. And so if you would like a more comprehensive walkthrough or some PD around Flipgrid, please do reach out to me and I'm happy to do that. So today we're just going to look at the Discovery Library. And the Discovery Library aspect of Flipgrid um, contains 4,495 topics that have already been created by the Flipgrid community that are ready made for you to apply in your courses. And I just think this is a really fabulous aspect of Flipgrid. Of course, you can create your own topics and really customize them to your class, but we all know that there are moments when it's just nice to have something created for us. You can also edit any of these topics. So if they are coming close to what's happening in your classroom, but not quite matching up and you need to align it a little more closely, then you can of course do that. You can use any of these topics to supplement your own curriculum, what you're already doing, or these make really great subplans. So I don't know about you, but my district likes us to have 5 days of emergency subplans just ready to go to be used at a moment's notice. And leaving a course of Flipgrid topics for a couple of those days is a really great, easy way for teachers to complete that request, but also engage their students in real significant learning, including practicing speaking and listening skills through Flipgrid. So I'm going to walk you through the library a little bit today, show you what it has to offer. And like I said, if you want to dig into Flipgrid later on, deeply with me, please do reach out. So this is what the library looks like once you're in it. You can see that you can search by topic right here. So maybe if you have a book that you're reading with your students in mind already, and it's specific, you can go right through here. I'm much more of a browser. I like to scroll through and see what Flipgrid has to offer me on any given day, because like I said, this topic number grows every single day. So what's happening right here on my page today? There are always a couple of featured Flipgrids. They're not always English language arts specific. So sometimes they apply to me and sometimes they don't. It will generate topics for me down the side here based on what it is that I've been looking at. So these tend to be, because I look at a lot of language arts topics, they tend to be language arts focused, although they're not always, but you can see there's some, some great topics popping up for me today. There's always a topic of the day. You can always go back and look at all the topics of the day. There is a wonder of the day. So it's, question of the day, and you can always go back and look at those. But I'm going to really focus on the English language arts specific tools today in the Discovery Library. So I can browse by subject. I can browse by language arts. We'll do this together last, but you can tell all your colleagues that there are topics for them in Flipgrid. There are trending topics, again, not always language arts specific. There are partners, and I'm going to come back to this piece in a second. I can search by inspiring creators. So if there are creators who I'm just really loving the content that they're putting out, I can definitely go in and view their landing page. And so I can pull, all my favorite things from my favorite creators. There are featured collections. Again, they're not English language arts specific, but they are often very broad topics and could very easily be something that you are discussing in your language arts classroom. And so these change. And of course, there's a huge library of them, and you can go in and see what else has been done in their featured collections. And then the final thing on the page is that you can really filter through subject, community, which is grade level, to look through these 41,495 topics. I'm going to take you back up to the partner page because this is something that I think that Flipgrid has done really well, and that is partnering with high quality content creators to bring topics to your classroom that are ready to use. So I'm just going to point out a few of the English language arts specific partnerships. You'll see, I'm going to scroll through a lot that you're like, wait, but that's probably English specific. And it probably is, but in preserving your time, I'm going to just show you my very favorite ones. I might point out a few along the way. For example, BBC Learning is media literacy. So if that is a topic that you are doing in your English language arts classroom, BBC Learning is really great. Candlewick Press has some beautiful topics, especially text specific topics. So if you are reading children's books or young adult lit with your students that are published by Candlewick Press, you might find topics in here. Oftentimes they have authors doing a bit of a read aloud or a first chapter Friday sort of situation, and then prompts for students to respond. So you'll see lots of publishers as I scroll on by. I'm actually going to scroll down to Penguin Young Readers because I think Penguin has done a really incredible job. But you'll also see like NewsGuard, again, media literacy, what is news, what is fake news, how do we tell the difference? Scholastic Books has one. If you're doing Roald Dahl in your classroom, great Roald Dahl topics in here. I'm going to go into Penguin Young Readers because a lot of the texts that I do with my students are Penguin books. So this is publisher of books for young readers, grades pre-K-12. Find resources for all of our books and authors, like book trailers, activity starters from authors, virtual book tastings, writing guides, professional development, and educator guides, and more. So this is a one-stop resource for you as an educator. Their educator guides are incredible. So again, you've got their popular topics across the top. They have collections that are built out. So if you are looking for, collections to go with She Persisted, or book tastings that I love, or book trailers. Let's say you're looking for book trailers for books that you might read with your students, or for books that you might be wanting to offer them as independent options. So those all live in here. I'm going to show you the book tastings because I just think book tastings are becoming more and more popular as more English language arts teachers move to book clubs or literature circles or whatever you are calling them in your school. But when you are asking students to select their own text, you might run a book tasting. And if you haven't run a book tasting yet, then this is your opportunity to really dig into that because these are already created for you. So I'm going to click on the YA book tasting. This is what students will see. They'll get this great graphic. You can see the 5 texts that this book tasting is focused on. And it says in the link below, read one or all of the samples of the books in the book tasting sampler. Respond with a video on what you thought about any of the books. Would you want to read more? And so here's what's on the menu: The Stars and the Blackness Between Them, Patron Saints of Nothing, Lovely War, Frankly in Love, and The Fountains of Science. And then the students will get this link to the book tasting collection, and I'll show you that in a second. And then any tips for educators right from the content creator will exist over here on the right-hand side. And that varies depending on the resource that you're looking at. Sometimes you'll get lesson plans, unit plans, links to other resources, or just tips on how to use this particular Flipgrid. So when students open up the book tasting resource, they'll get this just beautiful but massive collection of resources to go through. So you might curate this and think about how this would work or maybe not work with your particular students, but they can go through by text, get a little summary, get the first chapter of the text. That's why we're seeing so many pages here. So I would say to my students, read the first page or two of the text to see if it's something that grabs your attention. And then, of course, I always have students who end up reading, the whole first chapter because they get so excited about it. Then there are some kind of thinking prompts for the students, and then it will move on to the next text. And so that's what a book tasting looks like. All right, so I'm going to go back out here into our partners. again, I'm going to scroll past all sorts of really fantastic content to show you the Pulitzer Center education page. There we go. All right. Um, Sorry, I have to refresh my page. It's pulling over the descriptions from the one that I looked at previously, and I need to refresh it in order for it to be what's current. So the Pulitzer Center's education programs and resources cultivate a more curious, informed, empathetic, and engaged public by connecting teachers and students with underreported global news stories and the journalists who cover them. And so I think this is really great as we talk about media literacy and news literacy. This is a really great way to dig in with students as well. So I'm really loving right now their photojournalism series. They've got a little series going here. And photojournalism is something that I really enjoy doing with my students while they connect images and text. So this is the first part in a little series. It says journalists can tell a story by using many different media: writing, video, audio, illustration. The possibilities are endless. Journalists who use photos to tell stories are called photojournalists. Let's take a look at how photojournalists use photography skills to engage their audience and to communicate themes, ideas, and feelings that are central to their story. And there is a prompt for the students where they're going to view the photo, make some predictions, make some observations, read a story where the image comes from, and then finally they're going to record their response to what is the story about and how does the photo you explored communicate themes, ideas, and feelings central to that story. So you can see that you can connect this to your classroom, not only just through photojournalism, but when you're talking to students about identifying themes, being able to use images and text together really can help solidify maybe the complex topic of discussing the theme of a text. So there are lots of different entry points into many of these topics. Again, there are complete lesson and activities right here. The photo story is also linked. And then this one is giving the teacher a really nice description and some tips on how to use this topic. Also, a whole link on the Journalist Toolbox lesson series, if that's a series that you want to dive into. So lots of great ways to explore this for educators. Again, if this is something that I love, which I do, I can add the topic to my group very easily, create a new group, or save this for later and come back and review it. Okay, so outside of all the great partnerships, you can also search down here at the bottom by subject. So if we go to subject and go to language arts, this might get us a little more focused. You can select your community. So you've got preschool, elementary, middle school, and high school. And now it's narrowed it down to just over 1,400 topics for you. These are created by partners, but also by educators who are using Flipgrid. So definitely check these out, see what other educators are doing. Modify them to fit in your classroom. I'll just open up this would you rather. I'll tell you, my high school juniors love would you rather questions. I think that it's something that goes across grade levels, this love of would you rather, and then discussing them and defending them. So this one says, respond to this question, make sure you explain why. Would you rather make your dreams come true or make other people's dreams come true? And then they can pop into their Flipgrid, make a video, and respond to each other. And again, this is a great class opener. Focusing really on social emotional learning, but also those speaking and listening skills that we are assessing in English language arts. And they're created for you to use right away. So not a lot of time on your part if you're looking for something to help save your time and sanity. So, as I said, this is just a small part of what Flipgrid can do. If you would like a deeper dive into Flipgrid, please reach out. I would love to talk about Flipgrid. Like I said, it's one of my all-time favorite platforms to use with students.